Hi there, and welcome to Ian's Engage channel. I'm Ian. In a previous video, I completed testing a curved set track point and came to the conclusion that I wouldn't be using one on Shelfington. In this video, I'm going to show how I updated the track plan to take into account removing the set track point, and came closer to deciding whether to use code 80 or code 55 track. The track plan containing the curved set track point was version 41 and was created using Pico Code 80 track. It incorporated sectional pieces of set track, flexible track, medium radius streamline insulfrog points, and a curved streamline insulfrog point. The decision to remove the curved set track point meant that Mantlethorpe Station had now become a terminus station, and as such would require some sort of runaround to allow trains to leave the station without being pushed. I'd quickly thrown version 42 of the track plan together to demonstrate the type of thing that would be required. You can see here that a runaround track has been added to the former through line that will allow locos to run around their trains and depart the station on the same line that they arrived on. This was always the way it was intended that DMUs would exit Mantlethorpe from the Bay platform, so it wasn't a new thing to get my head around. While this meant that trains would be running a portion of the inner loop in the wrong direction, I'd already considered this and had point work in place to transfer trains to the outer loop to get them running in the right direction again. This would allow them to make journeys to Sill Harbour Station, or to Shelfington and on to Fiddletown eventually. Up until now, because I'd been using a curved set track point in the track plan, I'd had a dependency on code 80 track. But now that the point had gone, I could look into using code 55 track. The advantages of using code 55 track work were that it would look better, and there were a greater selection of points available that had a more realistic geometry and would lead to better running. And code 55 FlexiTrack was arguably easier to work with than its code 80 counterpart. The disadvantage of code 55, in my eyes at least, was that all pieces of track, other than the points, had to be hand-cut from FlexiTrack. At this point, I wasn't committing to it, but I decided that I'd make a track plan for code 55 track. So, version 43 of the plan would be born. I decided that I'd like to use Unifrog instead of Electrofrog points, as these would allow me to keep my options open in terms of wiring. I could initially use them similarly to the Insulfrog points and convert them later to Electrofrog should the need arise. However, I ran into problems with my track planning software almost immediately. I use Rail Modeler Pro on the Mac, and medium radius Unifrog points didn't appear in the Pico Code 55 track library. This was a blow. But after a quick comparison with the medium radius Electrofrog point, I confirmed that the track geometries were in fact the same. My initial plan was to simply replace the code 80 medium radius streamline points in version 42 of the plan with their Unifrog counterparts. Unfortunately, because of the more realistic looking track geometry of the Unifrog points, they were longer, so I couldn't do a straight swap. As you can see here, with an example of a pair forming a crossover, it wasn't a small difference. The code 80 medium radius points at the top are much shorter than the code 55 medium radius points at the bottom. Oh, hi there, this is Ian from the future. Sorry to interrupt proceedings, but I just wanted to let people know that I contacted Rail Modeler Pro support about the lack of Unifrog points. They responded incredibly quickly and released an updated track library just a couple of days after I'd contacted them. That's some great support that I thought was worth mentioning. Right, let's get back to the video, and me from the past. The points being longer meant that I ended up having to recreate the track plan from scratch. Here is version 42 of the track plan, and I'll fade in version 43. As you can see, I've tried to keep the point locations as close as possible to the original track plan. This was important, especially at the rear of the layout behind the scenic breakboard, where I'd already started working on the part of the layout I was calling the tricky bit. Although the track plan was similar, I'd already made a couple of small changes. The loops had been slightly modified, with a straight point being used instead of a curved one to exit the outer loop into Shelfington goods yard. You'll probably have noticed that the curves at each end of the loops don't connect. This is because I've designed them using 3rd and 4th radius set track curves to get the geometry correct, but these would obviously be laid using FlexiTrack. The track layout at Ledgetown Quarry was also a little different, although, to be honest, this has changed multiple times during the development of the track plan and was bound to change again before it came to track laying. I'd managed to keep the marshalling yard looking pretty similar to the original, but it had lost some storage space due to the longer points, which couldn't be helped. Obviously, I've not yet completed the whole plan, but I think it's taking shape nicely, and my next step will be to add track to the area where Mantlethorpe Station will be. So, am I going to use Code 55 track or not? As mentioned earlier, using Code 55 would mean having to cut and shape all pieces of track that weren't points. I wasn't completely sure whether this was part of my skill set or not. Remembering back to my double O days over 3 decades ago, FlexiTrack was the enemy and was to be avoided at all costs unless absolutely necessary. However, not being one to shy away from a challenge, I've listened to advice and have taken some tentative steps. Yes, I've purchased some Code 55 flexible track. Not wanting to stop there, I've also purchased a Unifrog point. Or 2. Or, well, you get the idea. If you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you'll know what I'll be getting up to soon. Yes, I'll be spending time in practice and experimentation mode while I work out whether Shelfington is destined to be implemented in Code 55 or not. Okay, so that's about it for this update. Let me know what you think of version 43 of the plan. My current concerns with using FlexiTrack are: should I try and avoid short pieces of track, for instance? Or will short curved pieces of track hold their shape and be easy to lay where a track setter can't be used? I've had problems with Code 80 FlexiTrack in these areas, in particular with rails coming out of sleeper chairs whilst trying to make short curves. Alternatively, if you've got any hints, tips, useful tools or techniques to pass on to a beginner in Engage modelling, or if you simply want to say hello, then please do so in the comment section. Anything and everything you've got to say will be greatly appreciated. In the meantime, thanks ever so much for watching. Hopefully I'll have another update on my progress soon. Bye.